Hey everybody, it's Red here, and today we're going to be talking about the incredible adventures of Van Helsing. This is a game that Steam recently reviewed to me, or said I should play, recommended I should say. So that's kind of what I've done. So it's based on Van Helsing. I don't know a lot about him other than the movie, which was released in like 2004, which was not that great either. This game kind of follows the suit with it not being that great. But as usual, during a review, we're going to talk about the good things, we're going to talk about the bad things, and then the recommendation. So this game took me about 15 hours to beat. So right now we're in a scenario where I had beaten the game, and you can kind of come back for better loot. And so right now we're just going to be fighting random monsters and talking about the. Okay, that's me being poisoned. So I guess the first really good thing about this game is, as you see, the auto heal out of battle. She heals Katarina, heals fairly quickly, and so do you outside of battle. You just have to make sure that you're far enough away. So if you end a battle with one hit point and you run away, you can just, heal up, and you can save potions in that respect. So the second thing, I think the good thing is actually Katarina herself. She's got a decent amount of skills. It's like in Arcanum, where they give you Virgil at the beginning. They give you her at the beginning. She's kind of, I wouldn't call her a tank, but I guess she's under companion, and she's got. We'll just put more into her body. But she has a decent set of skills that help Van Helsing out. She can freeze enemies or heal his HP. I think it's MP as well. You can transfer damage. You can increase his attack speed. So there's a lot of choices for if you're wanting to use her, of kind of how you want to use her to help the team out. The next thing is kind of the free warp back to town. There's no, town portal scrolls or anything like that. It's just you hit a button and you warp back to town, which is pretty nice. So you don't have to worry about, the Diablo 2 thing where you're always having to have town scrolls eat up part of your inventory. There's also plenty of money in this game. If you're looking at Katarina, she has 820 some odd potions. I bought her 1,000, just to kind of get her to kind of be quiet with the potion eating. And I've had no problems with money whatsoever. The money's everywhere, which is kind of nice for one of these games, so that if you actually can find a piece of equipment that you would like to buy, you can just buy it instead of having to worry about selling other gear and stuff like that. So also with kind of there's being there a lot of money, there's also a lot of loot. There's a ton of loot, so there's always good chances that you'll pick up some good stuff if you go around killing enough stuff, which also won't be a problem, but that's in another part of this review. The respawn option, I like that. Since there's a ton of money, you can also, you can respawn here, you can go back to your last checkpoint or save point, or you can just go back to town. And depending on how cheap you are or where you're at is what you can do. And typically I would just go back to town because I'm super cheap. I prefer that money to buy gear and other equipment. So like the free self-heal, I'm also a pretty big fan of. It's one of his tricks. He learns at level 1, I think, and it heals you for so much of your spell power, and heals Katarina as well. It's pretty nice, so you don't always have to worry about potions if you're out and about and things get a little hairy. It won't save you in all instances because you can see how quickly they can kind of take down your health, but it does help out immensely because you're not wasting all those potions. And the perks, I like these perks because they're all kind of different. Like, again, to reference Arcanum, or not Arcanum, Torchlight, you just get another skill point, and depending on what skills you've put points into is what perks are available. And you get these again as you fight named monsters and stuff like that. But it's nice to have something different than just, oh, here's an extra talent point, or here's an extra character point. Even though I like character points and stuff like that, it's just nice to be able to have some uniqueness in it. So also there's one potion for each type of, one health potion, one mana potion, and that is it. I'm not a fan of Legend of Dragoon, but it's one of the things that I think Legend of Dragoon does properly, that there's pretty much 4 healing items, for HP at least. One of them heals half your hit points, the other heals full, and then it's party or single. And I'll save my judgment of the Legend of Dragoon for another day. So now it's time to kind of get to the bad points of this, and some of them are pretty bad. As much as I like Katarina's skills, she is pretty much worthless. She is a potion black hole. So I bought her 1,000 potions about halfway through the game, and you can see that she's used roughly 200 of them at this point. If she doesn't have any potions, she will sit around and complain that she doesn't have potions all the time. It's just annoying. I wish you could turn her voice off. You probably can, but you would still see the text. She does auto revive after a certain period of time, so that's nice. But it's still, she's going to take up a lot of your potions just because she's not very good. So something you've probably noticed already is the sheer amount of monsters that you fight. I would like to think that if the bad guy in this had that many monsters, he could just take over the town. There are tons and tons more. There's not a point in this game where you fight like less than 10 monsters per point. It is way too much. So much, in fact, that the game is not enjoyable because, as you've seen what I'm doing, I've just been running around, doing a couple special attacks, running, shoot, running, special attacks, running, shoot. It doesn't make the game enjoyable in the least because there's just too many. You will fight thousands, if not tens of thousands of monsters, excluding the point where you're supposed to fight monsters in one of the story battles, you will fight just an ungodly amount of monsters, and it just ruins it. Another thing is the controller settings. So I'm not using the mouse and keyboard. I'm actually playing on PC, but I'm not using the mouse and keyboard setting. I don't know how to change my A button or my B button, or put two things in the extra slots. Not that I have anything that would go in there, but the point is I do not know how to change them without going into mouse and keyboard mode and then changing it from there. It's really, really bad. You know, like, I would love to change some of my skills. I don't know how to. I've played with buttons. I've played with even the keyboard buttons with kind of the I need healing. Hopefully we don't die. You know, even with the controller hooked up, still cannot figure it out. No clue. And so it makes it frustrating that you can't do it simply with the controller. And there's probably a book or a guide out there somewhere where I could, but it shouldn't be that difficult to say, oh, I no longer want to use this skill, I want to use that skill in my hot menu. Kind of another big thing is aiming. He doesn't seem to be, for a guy who uses a gun, very good at aiming. And I'm talking, he will shoot over monsters' heads. He will not aim for the monster that's in front of you. You've probably noticed that his shots will just, whatever direction I'm pointing, he won't at least pretend that he's aiming for something. He just fires off the bullets. You know, for some sort of special monster hunter, he's not very good at hunting monsters. And so with that, I think they kind of force you to play a certain way where you don't have to aim and you can just fire off a ton of shots or a ton of AoEs, where it just kind of feels like you're forced to. You can't play a tank because there's too many enemies that'll drain your health too quickly. You have to play DPS. And some of the skills aren't really, they don't really go along with it. Like this skill I use just to deal a bunch of damage up close. I know I shoot it off at range, but it's really to hit somebody 8 times up close. That's really what it's for. It reminds me of Silverfall, where you play one of the ranged weapon users, and what happens is you spam the 5-hit and you just keep doing it over and over again, and you just get in their face and do it. And that's kind of how I've played this game, is just I get in your face and bow. You got hit quite a few times with that, and then now he's dead. Because it really does make this. Do it with this could have, like, the aiming alone was bad enough, but with the amount of monsters, it just kind of ruined it with, like, oh, you have to play ranged crowd control pretty much. If you're playing World of Warcraft, you have to play, otherwise you just won't be able to kill enough of the enemies before they kill you. Something that this is more of a nuisance to me is, and compared to Diablo 2, if I don't have the DLC installed, they don't drop their weapons. If I don't have the Druid DLC installed, I don't get the Druid weapons. And this is from the disc. This may not be necessarily true on Battle.net anymore. So you can correct me if I'm wrong. But if you don't have it, the weapons don't drop. So there's a ton of weapons that drop that are for the other classes that you can't use. But I don't have the DLC, and I don't plan on getting the DLC. So it just kind of, you get this island. Oh, this is really cool. Oh, you can't use it because you don't have the proper DLC. Again, should not have been included in the normal game, or turned off some way or form or how. With, you know, oh, Red doesn't own the DLC, so he just gets the normal, you know, even crappy weapons. I'm fine with that. There's been an issue with me with selecting the proper thing. So there are times when I wanted to select the town portal, but I have to select the person, so the person will talk. I don't want to talk to the person. This person has no name and has no relevance to the story other than being in the secret base. And that's all they do. Is I'm in the secret base and I wander around to get scenery. I don't want to talk to them. But there are times when that happens where you will just constantly keep interacting with those people just because they're there, and it thinks that you want to talk to them, even though if you don't have a name, I don't want to talk to you in this world. I barely want to talk to people now. And I think my last biggest complaint was, and this is more, I guess, in general, the endings that are set up to have another game or another movie, and that another game or movie never comes into existence. Because you could have added that in the second game, because this game is not very good. The poor controls, the too many monsters, you know, it's a horrible game. I mean, really, those things really just kind of ruin it. Like, I get fighting lots of monsters, but no, this game, just, when I'm done with this, I'm going to uninstall it, and I will not think about it ever again. Because even for a Dungeon Siege 3 clone, it's bad. At least Dungeon Siege 3, I could change skills and I could do stuff, and, you know, I had more control than what I have now. And this is just all kind of just wasn't thought through, I guess, well, or at all. So, do I recommend this game? That is a hard no. I'm a little disappointed that Steam recommended me to play this game. It was a little bit on my radar, but no, if you're looking something for like Dungeon Siege 3, this is not the game to play. There are other better things to play. So with that, that is my review. Thank you for listening. So I'll catch you guys in the next video.